Some of you have been asking for this review, so here it is. Honda refreshed Jazz, or Fit as it's known in some markets. There is now a new engine and a new trim level. Is this enough to conquer the Super Mini segment? Watch this to find out. Since you're watching this review on YouTube, there's this thing called links, which I like to place on the screen and in the description below the video. If you click one of those links, you'll be taken to my pre-facelift Jazz review, the one with 1.3 engine and CVT. I also talk more about practicality aspects there. In this review, I will focus on the new engine and what changed after the facelift. From the outside, you'll notice slightly sharper lines around the front, but this is a facelift, so don't expect a revolution. Anyway, Ford launched a new generation Fiesta and you have to look hard to spot the exterior differences. Depending on the market, the top-spec 1.3-liter version will be called EX, Elegance or Exclusive, and the new 1.5 version will be called Dynamic or Sport. Also in some markets there is an additional X-Road trim which gets some plastic cladding all around but has no higher ground clearance or more power. It comes with a 1.3-liter engine. Jazz 1.5 Dynamic or Sport gets, according to Honda press release, new bold front design with a wing-like grille. The exterior is now supposed to be more sporty and dynamic and whatever. And there's also a new metallic paint which is called Skyride Blue, and Honda didn't feel like paying for it, which is why today I'm driving a refrigerator. Inside there are some new bits of trim like this special upholstery, leather steering wheel, leather gear knob and some orange stitching which screams dynamic or sport depending on where you're from. Unfortunately, there is no keyless access or ignition, so you have to use an analog key. €1.5 dynamic trim costs, depending on the market, €20,000 or more, which is, depending on the market, the same as the 1.3 EX Elegance Exclusive, or slightly more expensive. Basically, in order to keep the price low, Honda had to ditch the aforementioned keyless access and ignition, automatic climate control, parking camera, automatic power windows in the back, 12-volt socket under the armrest, pocket in the back of the driver's seat, height adjustment on the passenger seat, and tinted rear windows. None of these elements are available even as an option. The only options you can go for are metallic paint and Garmin sat-nav. You don't want the sat-nav because it freezes too often to call it a freak accident. Sometimes it can go entire day without a hitch, and then on other days it keeps freezing time after time. You can reset it by holding the power button for about 10 seconds, but it doesn't help much. Booting takes ages and sat-nav can freeze again in a couple of minutes. I recall sat-nav rebooting itself all of a sudden in Civic Type R last year as I was delivering it back to Honda. Okay, enough complaining about the sat-nav, let's talk about the engine, which seems to be the main feature after the facelift. If you drove any new Super Mini within the last 5 years or so, chances are it probably had a small turbocharged petrol engine, which theoretically should have been efficient, but in reality it drank like a fish. Yes, I'm referring to Ford Fiesta 1.0 EcoBoost. The Japanese decided to stick with naturally aspirated engines as long as possible. For example, Mazda 2 with a 1.5-liter motor used close to promised 5 liters per 100 kilometers combined. Honda claims just below 6 liters, and if you follow the EcoNani, you'll get close to this result. There's a green arrow on the rev counter telling you mainly to shift up, and some green and blue lights around the speedo which tell you if you're driving green or not. If you're driving like it tells you to, you're going to be doing 50-60 kilometers per hour in 6th gear. Basically anything above 1500 RPM and the computer tells you to shift up. Okay, Jazz is a city car, so it kind of makes sense, but if you need to make a quick lane change or overtake, be ready to drop 3 to 4 gears, like so. Because any acceleration happens above 4,000-5,000 RPM. Now, because of this gearing, At 120 kilometers per hour, the Jazz indicates around 3000 RPM and it gets quite loud. At 140 kilometers per hour, which is the maximum legal motorway speed in Poland, you're around 4000 RPM and it's very loud. That said, during the entire week with this car, I never used more than 7 liters per 100 kilometers, even when driving fast on the motorway. However, as far as noise and motorway driving is concerned, I would prefer Ford Fiesta 1.0 EcoBoost, which indicated just around 3000 RPM at 140 kilometers per hour. If I had to drive to work every day and it would involve motorway as well as the city, I would choose Fiesta over Jazz. Handling. In my pre-facelift Jazz review some 2 years ago, I complained about the hard ride. Honda claims it worked on the suspension to adapt it better to European roads. Suspension is now lighter and has new damping, and as far as I can tell, this is what the Jazz needed.
Apparently, also front suspension geometry has been adjusted to make the car handle better in the corners, but I had no complaints in this department, and I don't feel any difference. There are McPherson struts in the front and a twist beam in the back. Honda also offers some driver aids, including this terribly intrusive collision warning system, which I couldn't find settings for. Jazz has the biggest boot in its class. This is a Super Mini, not a BMPV. Jazz has the same dimensions as Mazda 2, Ford Fiesta or Hyundai i20. But at 354 liters capacity, the boot is bigger than in some compact cars. It's a shame there are no shopping bag hooks. You have to use the underfloor storage or fold the magic seats up and put your groceries on the floor. Other configurations include normal position, backrests folded flat, or front seat folded to extend into a lounge seat. It's a shame you can't tilt the backrests a bit, because then you could sleep here. You can also fold the backrests and the front seat to carry longer items. What's it called? Simply clever. In the front, there is still no good place for a phone. You're going to forget it down there behind the cup holders. Door pockets will fit a small bottle of water at best, and I still don't get HDMI ports in cars. Are you really going to play cartoons for your children on the infotainment screen when they have tablets?
To sum up, Honda Jazz Dynamic looks great, but in my opinion, more powerful engine is not worth sacrificing some of the options which make the top trim 1.3 model an almost complete package. As I said in the Fiesta review, in the B segment you're looking for the lesser evil. Honda Jazz is spacious, but the infotainment is poor and dynamics leave something to be desired.
And how do you like the facelifted Honda Jazz? What are you looking for in a Super Mini? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and maybe share it with your friends. New reviews every Friday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.